Good afternoon, Julia. How are you? Say hey, hey. All right, testing is good. How are you, Julia? Oh, yeah, she's on mute. Okay.
I'm sorry, I'm talking to you. I didn't realize I was on mute. I thought you were talking.
Yeah, you were on mute. I saw that.
I'm fine. There's nothing that okay, I'll go back to it. I'm fine. There's nothing to report.
Oh, okay, good to hear. For some reason, a couple of days I was trying to reach the lady from the Prospect Art Alliance. For some reason, I never got to. But I saw today she confirmed, so that's good. So we'll
Oh
wait.
yeah, Samantha.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. She called and she sent a link and said that she wanted to get a
I
copy.
didn't realize she didn't have the link, but you are gracious enough to send it to her.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. Mhm.
Yeah, I know her from the Parks Alliance.
So you've been a very active member of the Prospect Park Alliance?
As active as we could get, you know.
Oh.
Speaking of which, we still have an outstanding, our committee has an outstanding, we have a survey that they wanted us.
I know, we spoke about the survey the last time. I remember I filled it out myself. So.
But you filled it out for your own personal self.
Right, I did that.
They wanted us to fill it out as the committee.
Well, we could put that in one of the agenda items to remind people in their old business. I know we spoke about it before.
Okay, so we
So to remind that. So do they want, well, we could ask specifically, does she want something from the committee itself or from the individual?
I know exactly. No, I'm not going to ask her because she and I are at the same committee. Mm-hmm. Her boss told me to get my committee to answer it. So I don't need to ask her for permission.
Oh, okay, I wasn't clear. So they want, what do they want for the committee? A resolution? Oh,
no, dear. They sent us a survey. Mm-hmm. The survey is online. Right. So oh, there's Deborah. Mm-hmm. Hey. Yeah, we were just talking, Deborah, we were just talking about the survey.
Survey sent out earlier
yeah.
in the year. Okay.
Yeah, and you and I were talking that you wanted the committee, the CB9, to respond as a group.
Yeah, that's fine. It was really just some research we were doing. We were trying to figure out some new strategies and activities that we wanted to do in the area of community relations and wanted to get some feedback from our partners. So that's great. We appreciate your help with that.
Okay, so Nicholas and I were just trying to figure out when we're going to put it on.
What did you want, a resolution from the committee or from the community board? What format? Because I know I personally filled it out before.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't have to be anything formal. We're not looking, it's internal for us just as we do our research. So we really just wanted feedback from folks. It's not anything that needs to be ratified or formalized or anything like that. So whatever's easiest for you.
So what I had done is the survey was in a digital fashion. So I just broke it out so that we could answer it as a group, the question. So
that's great.
Okay, so Nicholas, what we will do is we'll put it on the agenda that we will make.
Because I know we spoke about it before, so let's put it in the old business and then we'll take it up on it.
Okay, cool. Okay, cool. Hi, Sam.
I'm
Thank you
muted.
for
Hi.
thank you for coming.
Yeah, of course.
Hola, Brenda.
Hi, Julia. Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Oh, there we go.
Hi, Maya. Now,
Camera.
Maya, you know that you're going to take minutes tonight.
Dante,
Yes, I do. I'm ready.
I was
Okay.
monitoring the Zoom meeting from the board.
I'm sorry, Nicholas?
I'm trying to find out who's monitoring the Zoom meeting from the CB9 office. Is it Khalid, Mia, or Dante? So, because
Hi, Nicholas. It's Khalid.
oh, it's Khalid. Thank you. I
Yes.
just wanted to find out. Okay, great. Because I'm gonna probably ask you to help me out in a couple of things. So I just wanted to give you a heads up. Okay.
You got it. Okay.
Thanks. I need one more.
Hello, everybody.
One more.
Hi, Alicia.
Hi, Brenda. I can barely see you, Brenda.
Yeah, Brenda, you need some more light on your face because that's not a good look.
I'll work it out eventually. This is what, week 2 or 3 with this. I'm still playing. Look, at least I have a background here. And I am actually in the picture with the background. So yay for me.
Okay, baby steps. Is that where we go?
That's what
Baby
I'm
steps.
You said at least
That's
I'm
that's
there
all right,
with
Brenda.
background.
Brenda,
Yeah.
I got my Mac, so you're gonna have to show me how to work it, okay?
Woo!
Because I opened it up and nothing like moves around. I'm like, why isn't anything moving?
Oh, look, there's something.
There-
You know, when I
Well,
sit
that
down,
was a
I'm like,
when you're standing up, you're good.
yeah, when I'm standing up, but that y'all see the midsection. Oh, well, it is what it is. You know, life goes on.
Okay,
We're
so
looking
we're
at
gonna wait till.
forehead.
Are we gonna
At
wait?
least have my
What
whole
number are we
face
waiting till?
here.
Brenda, how long do we wait?
I'm just gonna see how many people here, if we have a quorum, and then we're gonna call the meeting to order.
If 5 minutes, 10 minutes is enough for keeping me waiting. When I
Well,
was
we
at
do the best
work,
we
10
can.
minutes late, and
He's saying that we need to have a quorum,
I just
but
wanna
this is
go
a
get the
committee.
list of
They never get a
commissioners, and then we're
quorum.
gonna move forward.
we may not get a quorum. They might not
just
show
wanna
up
make
at
sure.
all.
Just one moment. Oh, there we go. This is,
There's no reason to
this
keep
is the file
waiting.
I'm talking about. Well,
You have to have order.
Because we have a guest.
yes, we have a guest. We got him up really quick, and she needs a little bit of time. Okay. All right, so everybody got the, well, why don't we call this meeting to order? If we don't have a quorum, we'll just continue, which means a quorum means that if we were to vote in any item, it won't be official. That's all. That doesn't mean we can start the meeting without a quorum.
Okay, God willing, we get by the
So
time we need to make a
another
vote,
3 minutes,
we get more
exactly
people.
at 7:10, we're gonna call this meeting to order.
7:10?
Yes,
Okay.
that's about 3 minutes from now. I mean,
Okay.
4 minutes from now. One, two, three, 4, 5.
So I'll ask questions.
Yes,
After
dear.
I do the minutes, what do I do with them? I type them up and send them to someone, or what happens?
Yeah, they
You
get
type them
sent
up and
to
send it
the,
to us
to the
so we
board.
can okay them.
As the team, as just the
Parks.
committee members?
Well, to the co-chair and the chair, and then we'll send it forward.
Okay.
I
then-
mean, it's not like we're okaying it. It's just like we're looking at it.
Okay,
Like set of eyes, not like
I
yes or
understand.
no.
Because at the next meeting, we can review it to find out to approve it. So just make sure we get a record of what happened.
Well, the next meeting is the last.
Last meeting
Of the
for the
summer.
season, I understand. One other thing I don't understand at community board, why do community got to go dark for 2 weeks in the summer, especially a committee like the Parks Committee. So this is something I think we should move to change throughout the city, because there's a lot of things we can do during those 2 months.
Excuse me.
I would love to see whoever's the next borough president to make a proposal to change some of the, or the community board itself could make some change in the bylaws.
I mean, but we spend a lot of time, I know I do, spend a lot of time attending a lot of meetings of this community board. We need to get breaks. The summer is a time for us to relax. I mean,
How am I going to travel? How am I going to travel?
The question is, you could go ahead and relax, but that doesn't mean the work stops.
Well, if the committee's on traveling, who's going to do the work?
Exactly.
I mean, who's gonna do the work? Whoever else is here. I mean, we can plan activities that will continue to extend the work of this committee. Based on based on the research I've been doing and the observation I made, there's so much work to be done.
Is that going to be on the agenda for next month?
Yeah, oh no, we have the agenda.
There will be no meeting for next month because,
There's no
I mean,
meeting.
yes, there will be one more meeting, right, for next month.
Right.
One more for June.
Not on today's agenda, right?
June, and then you're off for July
And then
and August.
2 months off.
That you're off July and August. Okay, I'd like to call this.
One more minute.
order, because it's
No,
exactly.
we
one
said
more
10.
minute? Oh, my
One-
clock is
yeah.
a little fast. I don't know.
On a mas.
Khalid, I would like for you to help me in one of the main, one of the points in this committee is a roll call of the committee to make sure we have a quorum. I would like to, if Khalid will do that for us.
Roll call. Okay, give me 1 second to pull up the distribution list. Give me 1 second.
Okay. Mhm.
I was at the Shirley Chisholm Democratic Committee meeting. So a few changes are going on with the voting,
Such as?
such as absentee ballots. There'll be a no excuse needed absentee ballot. No excuse absentee ballots. They voted yes last week on that. The request for ballots can be done electronically now. Those issues with the post office, 21,000 votes were just thrown away. That's not gonna happen anymore. Election day registration, they voted yes on that. Rodney said there were 5 things, but I only got 4. And
So this is just the club voted on it. This isn't like the city council voted. on it.
No, assembly and whoever voted last week. She was just.
So they're just reporting back what was voted.
She just announced it at the Shirley Chisholm Democratic.
Okay.
So they passed it into law?
That's what she said.
Okay.
Woo! I don't know what the 5th one was. She said there were 5 bills that they voted yes and passed into law. And this is all I could get of all she was saying. I only got 4 written down.
Okay. All right. We're
Okay.
waiting on Khalid for the roll call. We'd like to call
Okay.
the meeting to order at 7:12,
Well, as soon as he gets back.
as soon as we get back, right? So.
Yeah, I'm having a hard time looking for the Parks member list on the laptop. Usually just
Okay,
happens on the
I-
server.
Okay, you know what, I can
have
send
my
it to
name
you.
in front of me.
That would be, yes, that would be great. If you can send it to me directly, I would appreciate that.
Okay, Khalil, okay, let me see if I send it back to you, because you sent it to us.
Perfect.
Okay, hold on. Let me get out of this. See, it would be nice if we had a chat, but you know.
Why don't we have a chat?
The chat's been disabled for all of our accounts.
Well,
They
that's
don't-
okay, because thank God in September, we're going back to in person. And then we will be able to speak to people, and we'll be able to conversate with people, and we'll be able to talk to our representatives, because clearly removing chat was so that we wouldn't do those things. But
Okay.
thank God we're coming out of COVID and back to old-fashioned. Hi, how you doing? My name is Alicia. Can I get
Khalil,
I can't
Khalil,
promise that
tell
for
me,
upcoming meetings.
Khalil, are you
Yes.
Khalil Nixon? Wait a minute, honey. Khalil, sir?
Yes, Julia,
Sir,
yes, go ahead.
Khalil Nixon?
Well, we
Okay.
started to do that. Why doesn't everyone in the meeting introduce themselves? That was part one.
Okay, do you have it now?
Give me 1 second. I haven't received the notice for an email yet.
I knew the chat wasn't gonna, I knew they were gonna shut down chat. They didn't like us talking.
Well, I'm glad we're going back to in person too.
That's
because
right.
Then you could talk and
That's
Bring
right.
our
Somebody
signs, we can bring our
something-
popcorn.
one-on-one. So you could pull them to the
right.
side of the auditorium and said, let's talk about this.
That's right.
The digital thing did not allow you to do that. I requested people to talk one-on-one. People think it was going to be lobbying, or people didn't feel comfortable.
You're
I'm
supposed to
glad
lobby.
we did that.
You're supposed to.
I'm supposed to, I think so, because if you were in a room, I could have pulled you to the side and have a discussion. Yeah,
That's
we can.
something different than to
Yeah,
one-on-one on an email.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
well, that's
Public
the
and
whole
private
idea.
or
That's
something
the intention.
different.
If I
But
can
in a
come and
public
discuss
place, yeah.
something with you, that's the only way to me,
No,
because,
you can talk in a group forum.
no. I
Okay,
can't
I'm
have.
gonna
that.
mute
Because- And I
myself,
went and
because
checked
otherwise
with
you're
the
not gonna
district
like me.
manager. He said, there's nothing illegal about it.
Well, I do
As
know that.
As far as he knows, he went and do some of the research. I'm quoting him that it does violate the public meeting law. I mean, if I meet you on the street and talk to you about something, if I could, how is that violate the open meeting law? That was the intention.
Well,
Then we can talk about it in a group meeting. It's not
I-
nothing hidden. Some people think it might have been lobbying. Lobbying, I wanted to be a lobbyist, so I'm clear idea what lobbying is.
Well, I do know
I
that.
never quit pro quo. I was not
Nicholas, you
looking for
have to let other
quo.
people speak, dear.
I do know that there are some developers and some of our local politicians, as well as some of our community board members, would like to permanently have virtual and not have in person.
Oh, I don't care
But
about
I can tell you that we will file some lawsuits on that.
Oh
if
no,
that
me,
is-
I'm not afraid of lawsuit because I'm not doing anything illegal.
No,
And I
but I'm
don't
just
want to. My
saying,
interest is
we're not
the
gonna allow that.
community first and foremost. And I will know, the only person I said I may owe is the person who nominated me to the board. And it's one of the council members. That's it.
Well,
And-
technically, your allegiance is supposed to be to the residents.
It
Because
is
you
to the
chosen
residents.
to
That's
represent
the
us.
point I'm trying to make. My point is the
But-
residents first and foremost. I'm a public servant and the
Exactly.
public is the person I work for.
Exactly.
I'll
But-
make
Leo,
that
did you
clear.
get it?
I mean, since I started at Brooklyn College in the
Hi,
70s,
Julia. I
and
just
the cops
received
went
the
after us
agenda,
with
and I
guns.
do
I've
have
been in
something
this
pulled up
fight.
here, but it's an incomplete list. Give me 1 second to find out, or at least
So believe
find
me,
the
I've been
additional
in this
numbers.
for
Give
a
me
while.
1 minute. I have all of the committee residents here, but not the full board members. I know it's incorrect, so give me
Okay.
1 minute, please.
Let me see, I have, from the list I have the chair.
Khalil's
I have
working on it.
69 members and the community residents.
Well, in the meantime,
Oh,
could we just go around and introduce ourselves?
Yes, that's what I like to do. Now, why don't we go around?
Well,
Okay.
I'll start. My name is Alicia Boyd. I am a community resident, and I'm one of the founders of MTOP, the Movement to Protect the People, and FLAT, Flower Lovers Against Corruption, and Save Associates.
Next.
Julia, I'm calling on Julia.
Hi, I'm Julia Bryant. I am the co-chair of Parks and Recreation Committee for CB9. I am a member of the community, and my primary issue is protection of the Brooklyn Botanic Garden.
I think Mina, how you next?
Hi, my name is Mina Lugute. I'm a member of the community board and of the Parks, Culture and Recreation Committee. My focus is trying to help the community be more connected to the parks and just being outside.
We have Deborah, who's here today from the Prospect Park Alliance.
Sure. I'm Deborah Kirshner. I'm the head of community relations at Prospect Park Alliance, and also a resident. I live in Park Slope and have worked at the Alliance since 2013.
Okay, Ms. Brenda Pagan.
What?
I said, no,
And
go
then
on the
next-
next person, Ms. Brenda Pagan.
Thank you
That's
for
the correct way to
correcting
say
the
it.
pronunciation. Mute yourself while other people are speaking. That is appropriate. Brenda
All
Pagan.
right.
You're still speaking with me? Shame on you. Brenda Pagan. I am a member of the community, have been so all of my life. I am on this committee, a board member for CB9 on the Parks, Recreation, and Culture Committee, because my interest is in bringing more arts and culture to the parks and protecting them from unscrupulous folks. All right, it's good to be here tonight. Who's next?
I think it's Sam. Are you saying? Samaya?
Patrick.
Samaya Patrick, yeah. My name is Samaya Patrick. I work for the Prospect Park Alliance. I'm the Government and Communities Relations Coordinator, and I'm a resident of Flatbush.
Well, it's nice to see the park president, the Park Alliance. I normally don't see you guys. Are you back full up and running completely?
Yeah, we pretty much are. The last sort of parts of our work that had not reopened were the carousel and our wedding venues. And just with all the phased openings, like we were able to open our carousel a couple of weeks ago,
Yes.
and we had our first in-person weddings, I think this past weekend. So we're
Oh, how nice.
back up and running.
Oh.
And are you still doing the full concerts?
That's very good. That actually the concert series in the park Celebrate Brooklyn is run by our colleagues at Brick Arts Media, and they did just announce they're coming back. They have not shared any details on their season yet, but it's our understanding they'll be back at the end of July.
Oh, so they're not doing anything in June.
No, they decided wisely to delay their start because they knew the longer they could delay it, the more likely it is they'd be able to have a season. So I think they're kicking off at the end of July. And they might run for a longer season. They usually end in mid-August. So I don't really know the details, but they might run through early September. I'm not sure how far they're going to extend their season.
Yeah. Oh, one other
Deborah-
question. Oh, go ahead. I just have another
Deborah,
question.
Deborah, did you post? Did they post the list of who the concerts are?
No,
Not yet. They're
haven't-
just going to.
Yeah, we're actually trying to help them because the Alliance is their partner in the park, meaning we support their operations with our work in the park. So I think they're hoping to do a press conference to announce their season very soon. We're waiting to get more information ourselves.
And I have one other question. There was some movement about 2 years ago to do some renovations on our side of the park. that the Parkside Park Alliance was pushing for. They came into the community, they had these, you know, input sessions.
Yeah.
And then it kind of just died out and we didn't hear anything about that. What is going on with that?
Yeah, I mean, I actually brought a presentation with me that I'm happy to make for you. I will answer that question because I know the work you're talking about. It was for reimagining the park's former rose garden, and we did a lot of outreach with Hester Street. So since that time, I'm sorry we've been a little bit on the quiet front. Our in-house team of designers put together like a wonderful presentation of designs for the for that landscape, and what we're really looking for is funding. So most of our capital improvements in the park are funded by our local electeds. So, you know, before the pandemic, we actually had some engagement with Mayor de Blasio, hoping that he would give funding to get started on some of those landscapes. But it's now looking like, just with all of the electeds who are in their last year, who are kind of leaving office, this might need to wait till the next administration, but it's a top priority for the Alliance. And we've really done a lot to get the designs refined, to start lobbying. In the past year, we've been spending a lot of time lobbying the mayor and other electeds. But the feedback we're getting right now is that I think a lot of the electeds want to leave this as a project for the next administration. So
yeah, especially because we are in a financial crisis. And so clearly a redesigning of Parkside Park should not necessarily be one of our main focuses, especially when people don't have jobs, especially in my neighborhood, don't have jobs and, you know, are barely able to feed their, you know, themselves and house themselves. Clearly, you know, this redesign. But what's interesting is you guys have not brought to the community the redesign. I mean, you come, you kind of got all this input from us, but then we didn't see any finalized, but you're lobbying for something that we don't even know is about to happen.
Well, that's why we're hoping for this presentation.
Okay.
Your presentation cover most of this stuff, because as soon as you get this roll call out of the way, you're gonna go ahead and do your presentation.
I actually, it wasn't in here. Part of the reason we didn't show it again because it's just conceptual, and it's actually based on the findings from Hester Street, which I apologize that was never shared with you, because we did do like a final concept for the Rose Garden that was reported by Hester Street in a final report they did, and our designs are based on that work. But I will show you a preview of our concepts for the Rose Garden. I was just going to take you through just some other updates of things happening in the park, and then we can show you a sneak peek of some of our ideas for the Rose Garden.
Thank you.
Nicholas, would it be all right for
I think while he's looking, why don't
us
you
to
get
continue
started,
on the
Deborah?
agenda?
Yeah, why don't you start with your presentation, Deborah?
Hi, really quick. Nicholas, I just sent you the Parks Recreation Culture Committee document for the committee members. Just wanted you to take a quick look at that and see if that's correct.
Okay.
It's the latest one that we sent to you on April the 9th.
I got one for, yes, on April, I did get one there. But there was only two board members listed.
Exactly. That's why I figured this was an incorrect list.
I'll take a quick look at it while Deborah do a presentation, okay? And then we'll do the roll call after that.
Okay, Deborah, I'm gonna make you co-host so you can share your screen, okay?
Sounds good, thank you.
Okay, you have that, perfect.
Yeah, just hold on 1 second. I just want to, oops.
Could I just ask approximately how long this presentation is?
20 minutes. And I'm gonna mute from here.
Yeah, I'll go through as quickly as I can.
I'm not asking you to speed through. I just want to get a sense of how we're going through the agenda.
Yeah, I'll keep this pretty tight. And then if there's questions, I can answer it at the end. So I wanted to take you through sort of the activities from the past year at the Alliance. Our hope is to come report to you once a year and give you updates on what we've been up to and our focus for the future. So what you see here is sort of a huge initiative we're undertaking this year to respond to a lot of the challenges we faced last year throughout the pandemic. We're calling it Renew Prospect Park. So I'll just quickly take you through it. I think, as all of you well know, being community members and park lovers, this year was really a unusual year for our community and our parks. The parks themselves, in a really positive way, I've never seen so much use and so much love. As you all know, the park was really well populated during the pandemic. It was one of the few public spaces that was open to our community, lots of celebrations, lots of people gathering for all sorts of activities in the park, which was wonderful, but it led to a lot of wear and tear. And this was exasperated by the fact that we had large cuts in funding. The Parks Department itself had a huge slash in their budget due to the pandemic, and they lost a significant amount of funding and staff. And then the Alliance, because all of our concessions were closed, we also lost significant revenue and resources that we normally dedicate to the park. So, you know, we had lots of challenges around keeping up with trash, keeping up with the wear and tear that we saw throughout the park. But the positive part about that is that the love from the community really translated it into some funding for the Alliance that helped us to kind of continue to sustain the park during these times, and having additional resources to be able to reinvest into the park this year. So thanks to the support, we have launched a new initiative, which is taking into effect right now, actually, that we're calling Renew Prospect Park. Part of it is investing into a stronger trash management strategy. Then we're making some park improvements, and then we're expanding our volunteer programs. So as far as trash management, the Alliance is actually contracted with a nonprofit called ACE in New York, which works with formerly homeless people and puts them back to work and gives them lots of social services and job skills. And we have a crew of 5 people from ACE who the Alliance is funding to come into the park on peak weekdays and weekends in the afternoons and evenings to help us with trash. As far as it goes, you know, the Alliance is a private nonprofit. Our primary focus is in the care of the park, the horticulture, the restoration work. The city's main obligation in the park is like the basic maintenance and operations. So picking up trash, making repairs, and that's really fallen to the wayside due to the stresses on the resources. We also are privately funding for seasonal groundskeeper. So these are other people that will be Alliance staff members who will be out in the field also doing trash and basic maintenance in the park to help supplement the city's workforce. And then lastly, you may have seen it last year, but the Alliance invested in and installed in the park larger trash receptacles and also signage, and did a lot of promotional campaigns to encourage people to carry in and carry out their trash, to use our larger receptacles, as trash was one of the key impacts that the public saw in the park during the pandemic. So we also, like I said, we had some generous funding from some of our foundations that normally support us, from some of our donors, large and small. I mean, we also had a significant uptick on individual donors giving anywhere from $5 to $5,000. And we're putting it back into the park by really addressing areas that have seen significant wear and tear. So we're going to be replacing all the grills and picnic tables and cold ins at some of the older barbecue areas, which are really well used by the community. We have 2 new barbecue areas that are in the section of the park that borders Community Board 9. It's a new barbecue area at Lincoln Road and a new barbecue area at the Parkside and Ocean entrance. So they actually have the newest and the nicest grills, but we are going to be adding some benches like picnic tables and some more furnishings there to give the public more places to sit and to picnic. We're also going to be restoring the Drummers Grove, which we're really excited about. You know, the Drummers Grove has been in the park since the 1970s. They have a circle of benches that are made of wood from trees in the park. We're going to be refurbishing all the benches, improving the landscape there. And then throughout the park, we're going to be fixing up some of the comfort stations with new fixtures and finishes. So the Lincoln Road comfort station, the comfort station that's at our entrance at the Children's Corner near the carousel. And then throughout the entire park, we're going to be fixing benches, filling in holes in some of the lawn areas, fixing fencing, cleaning a lot of our rustic and historic structures. So a lot of improvements that are just getting off the ground now and will continue throughout the spring and summer. And then lastly, you all may have heard last year, and I know Julia's heard in our meetings from our community committee, we saw a huge uptick in the number of volunteers in the park, and we launched some new volunteer programs last year that specifically help with trash. One was called the Green and Go Kits, one was called It's My Park Mondays, where the public came, they had trash grabbers, garbage bags, and helped us to pick up after all the use. So we're going to be continuing to offer those volunteer opportunities and launching a new volunteer corps that we're calling the Renew Volunteer Corps, that are going to go out with our staff and help with a lot of those improvements that I mentioned to you. And then lastly, we're really trying to work with the Parks Enforcement Patrol, the Urban Park Rangers, and community partners just to educate people on proper use of the park. I think we saw with the historic use of the park, a lot of new people, a lot of new dog owners, people that weren't that familiar with the rules of the park, and the behavior led to a lot of wear and tear in the park. So trying to get people to be park stewards, to be park champions, really help us play a role in keeping the park green and vibrant. So next, I just wanted to take you through some of the highlights of the past year, because even though it was a challenging year, we did have a lot of great accomplishments. Core to the Alliance's mission is caring for the parks and natural areas. That's the key part of our agreement with the city. The woodlands, the water course, the lake. So some of the challenges we had in the past year due to the pandemic is we normally do 2 huge plantings a year of like 5,000 trees and shrubs and saplings and ground cover. So in the spring, we weren't able to do those plantings due to the pandemic. And then you guys might remember Tropical Storm Isaiah, which plowed through the park in 2020, and it knocked out a lot of trees. So we saw a lot of damage. So some of the ways we were able to address that in a really positive, unexpected way is we got generous funding from Brooklyn Methodist Hospital to double our Woodland Youth Crew, which is this amazing crew of teenagers that do a lot of woodland work in the park with our staff. So it's an amazing youth employment program. They're paid for the work they do in the park. They get a lot of job training skills, and then they do a lot of important work that helps us. We also have a really successful and popular commemorative tree program where people raise money to plant a tree in the park to celebrate a special occasion or to commemorate a loved one. And we just saw a huge outpouring in that program and had a record fall planting season. And what was great is we were able to plant new trees in some of the areas where trees were knocked out due to that tropical storm. We also saw, and you may have seen, like a lot of wonderful capital improvements in the park. We restored Endale Arch, which is at Grand Army Plaza, one of our 2 most important historic arches in the park. We were able to unveil the work that we're doing to restore the Grand Army Arch and the plaza. We opened 2 new entrances on Flatbush Avenue through the city's Parks Without Borders program. And we also finished work and opened 2 of the 7 ball fields at the Long Meadow. More projects. We had a lot that happened, even though it was a pandemic year. We launched a new program that's going to help us keep our water course healthier, called an Echo Weir. We opened the Kensington Dog Run, which is at the parade ground. You may be familiar with it. We opened the beautiful Concert Grove Pavilion, which is right in the heart of Community Board 9. It's a public facility that's open to the public. They can get a permit to have an event there for $25, and it's a gorgeous historic structure. And then we just literally kicked off work to restore Leopards Historic House, which is a project that we would love to get involvement from Community Board 9 and other opinion leaders. Leopards Historic House was a working farm that was owned by the Leopards family, and it was originally situated in Flatbush and then moved to the park about 100 years ago. The Leopards were slave holders, and there were a number of enslaved Africans who lived and worked on the land. And what we're doing right now is really rethinking the mission and vision for the house. We're really in the early stages of work, but we plan on having like a design workshop, community conversations, really rethinking everything as far as what the house is there for and how it works. We really want to re-envision it more as a community center and really put to the forefront the narratives of the various groups, like the more marginalized groups that lived and worked the land. So enslaved Africans, the Lenape's, also make it a celebration of Brooklyn today. So that is something that we would love to get engagement from the community board. Lastly, I mentioned some of these to you, but we had some really successful public programs that we were able to operate even though it was a pandemic. We had our Green and Go kits. We had Play and Go kits where we took some of our favorite activities from the Audubon Center and Leopards Historic House and packaged them up in free Play and Go kits that people could borrow and to take out in the park. And there were even some fun goodies that they were able to take home with themselves. We worked with a wonderful collaborative team of artists that call themselves the Brooklyn High Art Machine. Working with Brick, we unveiled a public art installation at the band shell, and our hope is to do one again next fall. And then, like I said, we were able to reopen some of our facilities like Lakeside, which was very popular in the winter months and also in the summer for roller skating. So as far as this year, just to get back to you were asking about advocacy, where our focus is, we are being realistic as far as like where we're seeking funding from the city, knowing that it's a challenging time right now. A lot of the electeds are moving out of office. We have had already some successes. I think you may be familiar that District 39, they were one of the few city council districts to actually do participatory budgeting this year. And through them, we got funding to make improvements at the Parks Children's Corner. We're going to be replacing a broken fountain, putting in a cup filler there. We're going to be repaving pathways that have really fallen into really big disrepair. And we're going to be restoring the historic organ at the carousel. And we also got funding to do a traffic study of the Park Drive so that we have recommendations for more safety improvements we can make to the Park Drive. And then lastly, one that we're really excited about that Julia, I think, heard about and we would love to share with all of you is we are advocating for funding from the Brooklyn delegation of the City Council to get the remainder of the funding we need to take a disused building at the Parkside and Ocean entrance and make it into a welcome center for the upcoming monument to Shirley Chisholm that's going to be erected at that entrance. And that's really where we're pushing our focus this year because, as you said, funding is tight this year. There's not a lot of capital dollars to go around, and we feel like that would really move the needle for the park and for our community. So that's really my presentation. I'm happy to give you a sneak peek at the Rose Garden if that's still of interest, or to answer any questions you have. Just let me know what would be helpful to you. Oops, excuse me.
I think my question is about the water fountains in the park. Who fixes those and who's responsible for them? Because I know like 2016 or 18, they put in new fountains that were supposed to run year round. And I run in the park and they were not year round this winter.
Yeah, I have to find out about that. That was something. So the Parks Department is responsible for basic maintenance. And when things break down, they have a whole system of ticketing and making repairs. They have shops, they have plumbers, they have the maintenance crews. We did get funding from Brad Lander to put in those freeze-resistant fountains. And I think it'd be good if we could get back to them with some updates. I do think one or two of them have broken, and it's not clear to me what the status of them are. This was something we were experimenting with. Not everything works well in the park. You try new things. Sometimes like the level of use in the park is such that certain types of products just aren't serviceable. But Samai, if you can take a note and let's make sure we can get back to Community Board 9 about the status of those fountains. And thank you for asking.
Well, I would like to see those designs, but in the meantime, I have two questions. You mentioned the fact that you are fixing the Drummers Circle. Are you putting any restrictions in the Drummers Circle while you're fixing it? And what are the restrictions? Because one of the things that we are very conscious of is that as the neighborhood is changing and becoming whiter, people have been complaining about the Drummers Circle. And we are very concerned about that. And we don't want the so-called repair to now impede upon the ability for the drummers to be able to congregate, or for the Parks Alliance to then put some parameters around that as you repair that Drummers Circle.
Yeah, I'm sorry if you feel, I'm sorry if you feel something like untoward. I'll say that like the Alliance has been the biggest supporter of the Drummers Grove. We've gotten lots of complaints over the years about some of the activities or drumming that happens later in the evening. And we have worked with the community to make it clear that the Drummers Grove is not going anywhere and that it's an integral part of the park. We work closely with Bella, who runs the Congo Square Drummers Association. Her dad is the one who founded it. We're really simply preparing the benches. We actually got feedback from them on what they wanted, and we're going to hand carve the benches to replace what's there. We're doing it in 2 phases so it doesn't impede them at all. We're going to install half the benches during 1 week, let them run on Sunday as they always do, and put the other half in. It's simply just improving the landscape, and it's really for their benefit. The benches are falling apart, so I think they're very appreciative. I think we're hoping once all the benches are in place that we might join them for a little celebration. That'll probably happen sometime in June, so we're happy to invite all of you.
Could you make a point of sending it to Nicholas and I, the invitation, so that, because sometimes things do not filter?
I just made a note of it.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you.
You should also send it to the new district manager also, so all 3 of us should have it.
Yeah, I could just say we would invite our prospects. So we have a Prospect Park Community Committee that meets usually almost once a month, where we go through a lot of things. So Community Board 9 is part of our community committee. Julia comes to our meetings, and then the district manager's on the list, and Dante actually came to one of our recent events, and we were really excited to have him. So all those invitations go to the district manager email address and also to Julia. And we're happy to add you as well. Maybe just have Julia pass along your information to us and we can add you to our list.
Thank you for that.
That would be appreciative.
I would appreciate that. Okay.
And I have
Do
one.
we have any?
Yeah, I have one more question. You talked about the Leopards manner, and you continue to refer to Black people as marginalized. I do ask you to be careful of the language that you use. I find it very offensive for you to talk about Black people as if we are marginalized, because we are not. And so I would hope that if you're going to talk about the history of slavery, that you do not refer to us as marginalized. And so I think that obviously you guys need to have a little bit more sensitivity when it comes to the referral, the reference of my ancestors in that regard. So I do ask you to be conscious of that.
I appreciate that, and I'm very sorry. I was talking more, I'm not going to defend myself because I appreciate that, and I'm always learning. I think I meant more that in the past, at least at Leopards, that story wasn't really brought to life. There was more of a primary focus on the Dutch colonial history and the Leopards themselves, and that's what I meant by that terminology. But I apologize if that was at all, offensive, and I appreciate you raising that so I'm aware in the future. So thank you.
Welcome.
Deborah, to just in a method to further that communication of, is it possible? So how would I get on a committee so that we would be able to, so I could further that communication?
So Maya and my team is working closely with our head of education on the work that's happening and evolving. I think right now our thought is that we were going to start having the community take part in different dialogues and discussions around the house, probably in the fall. We're not really at the point yet where we're ready to have those conversations. We're in the early phases of research. So we can make sure that you are invited. The community committee is going to be kept informed of everything that's happening on that front. But Samaya, if you can take a note of that, that would be great.
Okay.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. Okay. Do we have any further questions for the presentation?
Any other questions? So we could move on the agenda.
All I want to do is see what they're doing.
Well, we're hoping they'll be back to show us as we
Well,
do.
but they're here now. I mean, she said that she has it. I'm interested. That was why.
Whatever she has, we're hoping she could just send it to us as soon as possible.
No. She's here. Okay. I'm voting that we see it. Deborah, you have another presentation?
I mean, it's that's
Okay.
what you said, it's just a sneak preview. I mean,
Sure, okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, just so you know, this is a conceptual design. That means we just created some like ideas of what things might look like. They're not literally what they will look like, but just to give potential funders in the city a sense of what we hope to do. So yeah, let me share my screen again, and I can show you a sneak peek of it. So hold on for 1 minute. Just want to make sure I get the right presentation. Okay, hold on. Okay, I'm going to share my screen. Okay. Okay, let me know once you see my screen.
Yes, we can.
I see it.
Okay, great. So we went through an entire process with Hester Street, which is a very respected nonprofit organization that does a lot of community outreach to help community members envision their public spaces. The work we did came directly out of the findings and recommendations of the Hester Street report. So many people, when they were engaged around this topic, very much loved the bucolic nature of this area. It's very lush, has a lot of plantings, a lot of wildlife. And the main idea was to keep it a place of relaxation and nature. So everything you're going to see is actually, like, literally was recommended within the Hester Street report and came out of the ideation from the community. So what you see in this is just sort of like a site map. So you see the new Flatbush entrance, which we recently opened. And then the Rose Garden itself sort of has naturally like 3 spaces to it. Like right now, it has these concrete basins that were put in the city by the city in the 1960s. So we're kind of treating each of those spaces as its own kind of like area or destination. So I'm just going to take you through some renderings of each and kind of explain what we're envisioning. So the first landscape that you would see once you came through the Flatbush entrance would be like a sensory garden. We're gonna have like a lush garden with a lot of native plants, a pollinator garden, meaning it attracts butterflies and bees, and a rustic arbor. So this will be a place for children and adults to explore, to enjoy nature, to relax. There'll be benches and seating throughout. Secondly, in the middle, we are looking to have a natural play area. So this is something that's been really popular in the park. We have an area that we opened after Hurricane Sandy from a lot of fallen trees in the park. So this area is going to be a play area for children that's made out of different natural materials. So there'll be branches and different types of areas to scramble and play. A lot of it's for imaginative play. Kids will take a branch and pretend it's a spoon, and it's sort of a very well received approach to play that has been happening in the park and in other parks across the country. And then the third room, or the one that's sort of the closest as you proceed towards Grand Army Plaza, is going to have a natural amphitheater for small performances and also just for sitting and picnicking. So it'll be shaded, there'll be lawn, there'll be kind of different types of ledges built in for seating. We're hoping the kind of biggest idea we have is a very small building. That's the most costly part of the project, but it would really just be a place with public restrooms, a terrace with views, and some shade for yoga or any type of activity that a terrace could be suitable for. There'll be some semi-enclosed, just multi-purpose space that communities can rent out for a small $25 permit, and schools could use as a place for shelter if they're doing nature education in the park. So again, these all came out of the ideas that were generated by the public through all of our work with Hester Street and from our meetings with various stakeholders. And these are just sketches; they're not final design. So it's really just to bring to life what these places could look like when we are presenting it to different elected officials as we seek funding. If we were to get funding for this, the next step would be to go through a traditional design process where we would meet with the public, we'd put together real designs, we'd present it to the public, to our community board, our community committee, and it would go through all the normal sort of protocols that happen with design work. So I am going to stop sharing my screen. I forgot to mention to you that we do have other capital improvements that are coming up. We are almost done with the design for the restoration of the Ocean Avenue perimeter of the park, and that will hopefully go into procurement this fall. We also are about to start work on the last 2 ball fields at the Long Meadow once they're restored, we will have restored all of the ball fields there. So some work coming down the pike in the next few months.
Okay, question, the spelling, you said Hester Street, H-E-S, Hester?
Yeah, H-E-S-T-E-R. They're a nonprofit organization that does community engagement around public design. They actually were also hired by the city to come up with a cultural plan for the city. So they do a lot of work in New York City and with communities. And we can share with you as a follow-up, we have a link to the report that came out of all that work. So you can read through the report, see what the findings were and how it translated to these concepts for the redesign.
I think one of the concerns that people had was that building, that amphitheater building, because you constantly are putting concrete onto green spaces. And you already have turned the building that was once a children's venue now into a money-making venue. And so obviously the community was concerned about you doing the same thing with the amphitheater. Like, okay, now we have an amphitheater. The idea is that we provide some space for nonprofits, and then you eventually turn around and it just be another private venue that people have to spend tons of money for, that the community cannot afford. And then you are now, again, putting more concrete onto green spaces. I mean, we have such limited green spaces as it is. And again, you're going to put more concrete. I mean, you already have an amphitheater on the other side of the park. I don't understand why we need to have one on this side of the park. But that is the concern that we raise, and it appears as if you're trying to get around it by stating that you're going to give, community spaces for $25, but I've seen people state that, and then at the end of the day, it becomes a private venue for private people who have to raise tons of money and have to have tons of money in order to even be a part of that space.
Yeah, I should probably clarify that Stewart. So first of all, the amphitheater is not concrete, it's lawn. It's going to be a natural amphitheater. So it's lawn and it's just some ledges for people to sit on. The Stewardship Center is going to be very small, and a majority of the space is actually going to be public restrooms. There's going to be a small space that's semi-open, semi-unopen, more like a covered shelter, like the Concert Grove Pavilion, that can be used by small classes or community groups. There's no, it's not seen as a revenue earning facility. And in fact, the biggest feedback we get from the community is the lack of restrooms in the park. So we do always try when we're renovating landscapes to find ways to incorporate restrooms where we can. But that's what the hope is. I'm not sure what you're referring to otherwise.
Well, I'm referring to the ice skating rink that's now a private venue. I'm referring to the picnic house that used to be a museum, and that now no longer facility. Now it's all private and you hosting. I mean, it appears as if you keep taking our public spaces and creating these venues that then wind up becoming private venues, and that only the wealthy, the rich, and the white can afford. And so again, that's our concern.
Yeah, I would say with Lakeside, there are some event spaces in Lakeside that, as far as I know, were always part of the plan and were always part of what was presented to the public. I would say that the skating rink, the pricing there is set by the city, and it is a public facility. In fact, the previous building was only open for ice skating for a few months of the year. We've made it into a year-round facility. We're finding a lot of success. We have very successful programming for roller skating and ice skating at prices that are consistent with what the city charges throughout the city, just a small admission fee and roller skates. But we do also have the splash pad, which is completely free of charge for the public, open 7 days a week from Memorial Day through mid-September, providing free splash pad. But your points are really well understood. I know you've been a longtime resident. You've seen a lot of things come and go. So I appreciate your feedback and your honesty. And I think the Alliance strives as best they can, as best we can, to make that balance as far as what we do for the public. Any facilities that are used for events, 100% of the proceeds go back into the care of the park. So unlike other cities,
okay.
I was just going to say, a lot of parks in the city, when they have concessions, the funds go into the city's general fund. Anything that's raised in the park goes directly back into the care of the park. And those fees at the picnic house for weddings and everything else goes back into the care of the park.
Well, not to the care of the park, to the care of the personnel, because your person, makes $300,000 a year? The head of the Parkside Park Alliance?
Yeah, I can see you have a lot of, I don't want to weigh down your meeting.
Right, yes, let's not do that.
I think we can come back and discuss some of this question, because we are an hour into our meeting. We have much more on the agenda. I would like to thank Deborah for making the presentation, and you are welcome at any time to come back with updates. Just let us know. We'll make space into the meeting, so to keep us updated what's going on, so others the community can come and put their question.
Yeah, I appreciate it. And I hope that we can earn your trust and that you can see the good work we're doing in the park. I think for Samaya and I, we're really here to get feedback from the community and really partner with the community as we can in the care for the park. So I just want to thank you very much for having us. Julia, we'll look forward to seeing you at future meetings of our Prospect Park Community Committee. And we'll follow up on some of the points that we discussed during this meeting. So thank you.
And I will be happy to attend any of those meetings.
Thank you.
Speak to Julia whenever it's possible. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, so you're welcome to stay.
Thank you.
All right, let's get back to our agenda. Khalid, the list you saw is similar to the one that I had before. So it's, when I count, it's basically 10 people. There's only 2 board members and most of the rest are community members.
Right, and that's what I was saying. I wasn't certain that this was
it's the same list. So it looked like the only 3 the members of this committee that are members of the board are myself, Mayna, and
exactly. Right.
It's only 3, so okay. And
right.
the total number of committee members is 10. So
yes,
our quorum should be, if we have 6 of them present, then we have a quorum, right? 50.
You have a quorum, yes.
Okay, so we do have 50 quorum. So why don't you do the roll call and so we could record it?
Okay, give me 1 second. I'll pull that up again.
Brenda, you look good. You got the lighting right.
Yes,
okay,
now we can see you.
Hi. I'm gonna call the member's name right now. Okay, so we have Nicholas Almanor.
Present.
Mina Lagute. She's present. Yes. Vivian Morgan. Not present. We have an Aldipsi or Wael Aldipsi. Not present. Ainsley.
Absent. You keep saying present.
I said not present, but absent.
Oh,
yeah.
not present. What do you say? Absent?
Not present. Yeah.
You say absent.
Say absent.
Ainsley Binder. Absent. Julia Bryant.
Here, present.
Perfect. Jerome Crace. Tamara McCaw. Brenda Pagan, or Pagan, I'm sorry.
I'm here.
Perfect. David Romero.
Who's that?
Someone whose name is on a list. And that's all the committee members, board members, and community resident members here on the list here.
Thank you very much.
For the
All right,
record.
let's go to the
Name is
approval of the last meeting.
Yes, you
minutes
do
of the
have
last
a
meeting.
quorum.
Okay. Is it possible you could share your screen with the last minute meeting? Everybody received it, it's on the website. Is there any changes to the meeting, to the minutes? If so, let's approve them. All in favor? Approval of the minute as written?
I don't see them, so how can I?
They were sent to
I
every.
wrote them, I know.
It's supposed to have read them and it's right there.
Do you need me to pull them up again?
Yes, you could pull them up. I mean.
Okay, hold on. Let me gather them. Let me see if I can find
Yeah,
them.
because it was written by Julia.
Julie, I'll make you co-host so you can screen share, okay? Hold on 1 second.
Okay, that's if I can find it. I sent it to you guys, so I must have it somewhere here.
Absolutely.
Remember when you sent it?
No. Here, let me do a search for that.
If not, I think I have mine too. So.
Oh, I better go on mute.
Yes, indeed. Please. Someone say if you're not talking.
No. What I have it was for January. What was the meeting? The meeting was for what?
4/8/21.
4/8/21 for.
Yeah. They have it on a different computer than what I'm using here.
Okay, there.
I cannot share it. I could look at it.
I wasn't expecting to do this, so give me a second.
This is going to be a common thing for each of our meetings to the approval of the minutes as done by Robert's Rule of Order.
No, I don't have them. I don't have them in a way that you can. So why don't we do a
because then
why don't we wait? Why don't we waive the passing of the
on the website?
So it didn't come in an email, it's on the website, because I'm looking through my email and I don't see it yet.
Come to your email also. We just asked you.
I think I have it. Okay. So this is.
I do have a question to ask Khalif. Khalif, are you not posting the minutes to committee meetings on your website?
Yeah.
Well, the website is new and we're still, figuring out how to post things properly. We only just, so for example, we're only just figuring out a suitable way to post committee meeting recordings, and that's currently under construction. And the same will be said for the minutes. It's just a work in progress, to be honest. And it will take some time for things to look uniform. But hopefully during the summer, when we have more, like when staff has more time to address administrative duties and tasks, that's something that's just going to be on our list in terms of organizing it properly on the website. But for now, it's going to look very messy. So we have our apologies for that.
Okay, do you see it?
Put it for everybody there. So just take a quick look to see if there are any changes, addition, or what was said, any correction, and then we'll vote to approve the minutes.
Okay, when you have read it, just put your hand up so that we know that you're good.
What, wasn't there 2 motions that were put on the floor that was passed?
They are there. They are there.
Where are the second?
I made a motion. That's one.
Where is it at?
It's on the 1, 2, 3. That's the third paragraph from the bottom.
There was a report from the subcommittee on parkland alienation, the presentation, and a letter That was the thing. And a letter to elected officials to
Right.
sign a letter in support
That's the mo-
are attached to the
Yeah,
minute.
but that's not a motion.
Okay, Brenda made a motion that the actions of the Parkland Alienation Subcommittee be presented to the Community Board and
Yeah,
General Meeting.
Now I remember, there was also another motion to get the restrictive declaration, and it was presented, it was passed and voted on. I don't see that motion listed in these minutes.
Okay, you're absolutely right.
But that's the
Okay.
reason we're reviewing the minutes, so can we make the?
No, that's not the same. That there were two different things and it's missing.
Yes,
Right.
it is. I agree, I don't disagree with that. Yes.
So that's why you
Okay.
go for the minutes, to make sure that they're correct.
Absolutely, that's why we do that.
Okay, so Alicia, how do I amend that?
So you just put it in there, you put amended, and then you say a motion was presented.
Okay.
And I think it was unanimous except for Nicholas. I think Nicholas either said abstained or he said no. Which one was it? Do you remember, Nicholas?
I said I abstain.
Okay, so it was unanimous except for Nicholas abstention.
Correct.
So so a motion was placed on the floor. Did anybody remember who placed the motion on the floor?
Brenda.
Brenda? Did you? Or was it Julia?
I couldn't because I was taking the minutes.
Well, okay, you just say a motion was placed on the floor and second.
I missed part of that because my internet had went down. but-
Right, a motion was placed on the floor and second
I do know the motion was placed, and then I did that back at the time for the voting.
to request the draft restricted declaration from the Department of City Planning.
Julia, can you do the adding right now?
I'm changing it now. Do you see? I'm typing as you talk.
Okay, great. Okay, absolutely.
And I'm writing it as an amendment.
As an amendment, correct, okay.
Amend it.
Is there anyone who have any other correction or see anything missing, and then we can vote to approve those minutes?
Okay, motion was placed on the floor to request the
The draft restrictive declaration
Yeah.
of the 960 Franklin Avenue rezoning application.
All right.
The draft restrictive
It's TIV,
restrictive.
Draft restrictive declaration for 960 Franklin Avenue.
spelled wrong, restrictive.
Okay,
Restrictive, taken, you're right, make it T, right, you're right, CTIVE. Take out ED and put IEV.
Oh,
restrictive.
Right.
IED?
V,
IVD.
E. But take out the D. Okay, right. The draft
Oh,
restrictive declaration. It's called a declaration. For the
Got it?
960 Franklin Avenue ULUP application.
I'm missing an R, ULURP. Am I doing it?
ULUP application.
Application, yeah, that should cover it.
And then you would say it was second.
Well, was second, it was seconded and passed.
Right, but you have to indicate how it was passed. So you have to say it was unanimous except for
One abstention.
one abstention.
Motion was
Second,
second
but you want to put
second
It
and
was seconded.
seconded it. There is seconded
Mhm.
and
Passed with one abstention.
was second and was
was
passed.
unanimous, was passed unanimously.
It can be unanimous if there's an attention.
Right, that's true.
It was
passed
one abstention.
with one abstention.
Correct. Mhm.
And you're supposed
Abstain?
to technically produce the voting record of who
You
voted.
voted for what? Well, that's the thing we have to clear out. So
Yeah.
I think that should cover it. I'd like to make a motion that we accept the minute. The committee members, we need a committee members to make the motion and a committee member to second it. And then
Julia,
the committee member-
Yes, dear.
It's A, B, yes.
O, A-B-S.
Yes,
A,
B.
A,
B,
Like what the word absent, I-O-N.
E-N-T-I-O-N, good, abstention.
With one abstention.
Try not to talk over each other. It's very hard to understand what is actually being said if two people are talking at the same time.
okay. Am I good?
Yes, I think so.
I can close out?
Okay,
We're gonna okay this?
yes, I think so.
Amended A-M-E-N-D-E-D?
Mhm.
DED?
Correct, it's all in the past. Oh, no, you mean today? No, it's just amendment.
No, it's amended.
It's amended, yeah, DD. Mhm.
Okay. Okay? Closing it out. I'm saving it and closing it out.
Are there any questions?
And I will send this back to the board.
So now let's have.
Lina, you okay? Try to stay awake, sweetheart.
Committee
Come on.
member make a motion to accept the minutes, and the committee member to second it, and then the committee members to vote for it. And that should be reflected in annual minutes. Minutes are.
That's you.
Okay. So I move that we accept the minutes. I need a second.
Okay. Somebody else has to second it because I'm the one who wrote it. Okay.
That's me now, right?
Yeah.
Mina.
Okay.
Mina. I want to
Okay.
impose on you again. Can you call the roll?
To call the roll
Brenda,
again?
you stop laughing. We
Yes
got to
or
do
no?
this.
Call the roll.
Okay. Come on. Okay, next item of business we have is something called committee rules of voting items.
Yeah.
Whose
we have
item is
a-
that? That's
We have
you.
a vote on the floor. Let's conclude the vote and then we'll move on to the next item on there. Mhm.
Okay,
Okay.
all in favor? You have to call it.
You gotta call it.
Nicholas, it's you. All in favor?
Wait, Nicholas, you prefer to do roll call vote or just?
Yes, because that's one of the things, that's why I have the next item, because
Understood.
I want everything to be recorded and make sure the right people are voting.
Understood. Okay, so I'll be calling the Parks Committee members right now.
Correct.
Nicholas Almanor,
Yes.
Mina Lagute,
Yes.
I'll say all of the names. Vivian Morgan, absent. Wael Aldipsi, absent. Ainsley Binder, absent. Julia Bryant.
Here.
Yes.
It's for the motion on the floor. So either vote
I'm
yes.
voting for the motion.
The
In
yes.
favor. Understood.
Yes.
Okay. Jerome Crace, absent. Tamara McCaw, absent. Brenda Pagan,
Yes.
in favor, okay. And David Romero, absent. So for all the members present, it is a unanimous vote in favor of the motion to pass the minutes. Or to accept, my apologies.
Motion approved. All right, the reason we went to that was the committee rule for voting item. Until further notice, I would like to make a motion that we follow the process we just did to vote on all items. Is there a second?
Well, there has to be a discussion. Oh, well, somebody has to second.
I'm putting the motion
What's the motion on the floor?
Hold on. If there's a second, then we go to discussion.
What's the motion, please?
The motion is to have all votes by roll call vote until further notice.
Are you asking for all votes for this particular meeting or for all meetings?
Vote for this committee, yeah. For all,
No.
moving forward, henceforth, moving forward.
Well, but, okay.
You understand what I'm saying?
You're saying that the motion is to have all votes in our committee to be by roll call,
Correct. Is there
not just for this evening, but going forward.
exactly?
Thank you.
Would that extend into September, or would that just go to the end of this term? Khalid? Somebody.
I mean, this is a question that would be answered by either the office manager or the district manager or the whole board by itself.
I would recommend, so if you're talking about roll call voting for the rest of the term for the Parks Committee, you can specify this motion if you'd like. And I do not recommend making motions that might extend into the next executive session year, because things are always subject to change. We don't know who will be who moving forward, and of course the committee can always decide to put forward a motion to change its the way that it operates. So if you'd like to specify your motion that, you'll be doing roll call votes until the end of this session or moving into the next session, it's completely up to you all. And, that's the point of you all voting yes or no and passing or failing. So it's at your discretion, to be honest. I can't tell you what to do.
Which way we're going to do. So, that's
yes or no. I would like to know.
Ahmed can relate to that motion, and then we'll vote.
Okay.
Nicholas, Brenda, can Brenda be recognized? Go ahead.
Sure, Brenda.
I'm unclear as to what your motion is.
My
motion, listen, is your motion for this meeting? Is your motion for this meeting and the last meeting of this term? Or is your motion to extend that roll call voting forever, henceforth and forevermore?
I would say henceforth and forevermore. That's my motion.
I don't vote. I don't agree.
Okay, so if we get a second, let's discuss.
Is there any further? We haven't gotten a second.
We haven't gotten a second. But we're starting the discussion already. So now I clarify the motion. Is there a second?
Motion fails.
Okay, no second? Okay.
Motion fails.
Let's move on. Please note that motion has failed. Write the motion and write that the motion has failed. Okay? So because in Robert's rule, you could vote by unanimous consent. You could go by voice vote, and you could do it by roll call. This is usually the three ways things are done. Okay.
Motion failed.
Motion
okay,
failed.
Next item.
Let's go to the next item. Long-term and short-term plans of the committee. Basically, we only have, owing to the nature of the way the board is constituted, it looks like everything dies at the end of June. All right, so basically what we would like to do, we need to make plan for whatever time that's left for the existence of this committee in the form that it is now.
Is this a motion?
No, I'm just making a presentation. I haven't made a motion yet, okay? The short-term plan is something I would like to propose that we do between now and the next meeting is to do a park and green spaces inventory. I would like to see if there's anyone interested.
We did one last year. We did one 2 years ago.
Well, I wasn't around 2 years ago, so, but I think this is something we need each and every year. So I think it would be a good idea if we develop a survey that would consist for each park. So we could make an assessment and make physical visits for each of the park in green spaces within CB9. What I mean by that, not only the parks next to the school, there are community gardens and so on and so forth. So we could get an idea what's there and how CB9 can help and maintain the parks outside in the old CB9. I live in Prospect Leopards Garden. I think most activity seems to be taken in the Corn Heights section of this district. That's what I observe. I may be wrong. Like, for example, one thing I noticed, there was a Corn Heights cleanup. Then I asked myself, where's the Prospect Leopards Garden and Wingate cleanup? And similar to the parks, there are various parks in this part of the district. I live in a block where there is a park. So park is of very much concern to me. And there are many things that that park needs in terms of being clean, hours of operation. The Department of Parks seems to be overwhelmed. And this is a place where we could bring high school students that are interested in horticulture to come and plant flowers and all this and beautify the parks. So that's the reason I like to see if we could start, if we do another inventory and survey to assess the park. And I would welcome anybody who's interested with me before now in the next meeting to go and visit all the spaces and bring in a report for the June meeting.
Nicholas, can you acknowledge Alicia?
Oh, sure. Go ahead, Alicia.
Just first, if there's already been a survey of the parks and everything, I'm not sure why we would want to have to do it again. I think the survey should be, if it was done 2 years, it needs to be resurfaced and given, and maybe just updated, because I don't see parks all of a sudden springing up anywhere. For the most part, you're not getting new parks. Second, this is the end of the year, right? You got one more meeting. I mean, to me, it appears as if your agenda is more about the beginning, like, okay, this is September, we got a whole year, let's look at what we would like to do in this year. And there's actually a part of your bylaws that you do have to have this kind of conversation, like what direction you want to take. To me, it would seem more appropriate for you to be tying up loose ends. Like, what has this committee been doing? Or is there anything that you need to finish up? Because we're at the end of the park. We're at the end of the season, not at the beginning. So I would suggest that the survey that was done 2 years ago be resurfaced so that you're not having to duplicate and that it be more of a focus on wrapping up things than beginning new things. But that's just my, okay.
If I may respond, I don't disagree with you at all because I am not aware of the survey. If I was aware of it, I would have phrased it a little bit different. And I think if there is a survey, let's update it by the next meeting. So we could leave it for whoever's going to come in for this committee, have something they can work on. I don't disagree with you at all. I think that's a very good idea. Absolutely agree with it.
Okay, Khalil, can you hear us? Khalil, can we ask you to locate the survey that was done the year before the COVID? It was done by Vivia. There was a tour. I mean, it was pretty extensive. It was a tour. The guys from the parks told us what he could fix, what couldn't be fixed, and you know, like what he would like. Like he showed us places where if I could get some money from my council person, I could fix this for you. See this thing here? I can't fix this, and this is not going to get fixed in anybody's lifetime. And he went along and he gave us a survey, and we have an inventory. I'm assuming, and I could be wrong, it could have gotten lost, but Vivia and a number of people from the committee, and they did it in January, and it went on during the day. I was unable to attend, but I did go to the meeting after the survey, and I saw the survey. And this is and the gentleman came and reviewed what they all had. He was from the Parks Department.
Okay,
and he gave us a ban.
And this was 2020, you're saying, right? For
yes.
COVID. I'll see if I can pull something from a laptop here. To be honest, I'm not, confident I'll be able to find that right now. Give me one second.
No. I'm just saying.
Right now. Like for next meeting.
We're asking you.
Oh, okay.
To get it to us between now and the next meeting.
Okay, will do. I'll definitely take a look for it and then send it to the committee distribution list. Most
I appreciate that.
Of course.
And if you can't find it, could you get back to us so that we can have a plan?
Of course. I'll inform you if I can find it or not. Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Also, you might want to speak to Vivia, because I remember that initiative, because I wanted to go to it and then I had a conflict, so I was unable to go to it. So I'm sure Vivia would have information on it if you can't find it, Khalid.
Got it. Okay. I'll definitely do some digging.
We appreciate that. Okay. Nicholas, is that your presentation?
Well, I had some long-term plan because of the discussion, because I was not aware. I'm a new kid in the block, and I'm learning quite a lot right now, that everything dies at the end of June and to be reborn again in September. But I will share, and that's what I was going to put on the new business. I'll make that presentation now because I made the same presentation at the youth committee and the education committee this week. The idea of a CB9 wide family fun field day for CB9 at the Boys and Girls High School field that is located on Woodland and Troy Avenue, which will be a possibility. This is mostly directed to the youth to put together an activity where we will invite the community, all the institutions to make some presentation. The health committee can have the different hospital group bring in for health screening or whatever activity. Organize one suggestion we suggested with the education committee. One of the things they do book distribution, and also they were also doing back to school donation of backpacks and school supply. So the suggestion was to make this particular event the last 2 weeks of either late August or after Labor Day, where we have 1 day, 1 or 2 days. So you needed to cover the Sabbath observers, where you will have different field activities. You could have the spelling, you could have the announcement of the spelling bee winners they are having. We could have younger people compete in things like I I don't think we have Battle of the Bands again, but we could have, one idea was to have a DJ battle where the different groups will be invited to present a short term and be judged. We'll have, with the business committee, we'll have most of the business in the community, especially the restaurant, to come and become vendors and so on and so forth. Create a whole series of activities where the whole community will be able to be, what I'm calling it is a CB9 Family Fun Field Day. That's the long term I was talking about.
It sounds like a very big event. It takes a
It
lot.
is a huge, it can be a very huge event. And basically, you may want to.
You're talking over me.
Mhm.
Sounds like a big event that takes serious planning, and
Correct.
it's not going to happen between this meeting and the next meeting.
Mhm.
And if that event is supposed to occur at the end of August, it would mean that the work for that event would have to be done in the months prior to August,
Correct.
June and July,
June and July.
August, when
July
we're
and August.
not working on this committee.
Mhm.
So that's an issue right there. Perhaps you might be thinking of September or October, early in the fall,
Mhm.
when it's not so hot outside and people, want to come out for the harvest time or something of that nature. And maybe, people who are interested in working on this event could begin planning this event.
I absolutely agree. I'm not stuck.
I think that
Suggesting. Mhm.
I think the horse is before the cart, or the cart's before the horse here. We don't have an event.
No,
We
this
haven't voted on an event.
it's
We don't have any funding for the event. So I understand that this is being presented as a long-term issue.
Correct.
So why don't we
next year.
have a subcommittee
Work on it.
discuss it and make a presentation, because this is just long and long and long. You haven't presented us anything to vote yay or nay on. It's just more event, more event, more event. So we need, for this committee, we need to have like a budget, we need to have a timetable, we need to have a day, that we can vote yes or no on, because and if there's other committees that are already working on this, then we want to know who, I heard you said that you made a presentation to other committees.
Mhm.
So if they are already on board with this, at that time, maybe they can come and help make a presentation of what they've done and then what needs left to be done. But at this time, I've heard it is not a motion, it's a presentation.
Correct.
We've heard the presentation and you haven't asked us anything. So could you make a motion for what next action you would like this committee to do?
Put together a subcommittee to look into making this event happen. That's the motion.
Okay.
Just for clarity's sake, to make this event happen when?
Well, the date is not firm. It's probably the idea was to do it like a back to school event, probably mid-September or late September. Okay. And somebody had suggested in the other discussion, they were looking into do it late August, but I think late September would be a more appropriate time, so you have enough time to plan. So the suggestion is also to make a committee, is a board-wide committee consisting of all the chairs of the board to sit and start planning for this event. That's
Okay, that's not us. That's not us.
That's not you, because it's a board-wide event, not just one committee. So you're gonna have.
Okay, you need to get somebody from this committee to subcommittee with you.
Right,
And if you do not, then that motion fails.
right. So the
Ag-
motion is to create a subcommittee to look into a feasible.
Okay, we're at 8:37. So let's, okay, make your motion and then we'll vote on whether we would like to have a subcommittee.
Well, the motion is to create a subcommittee to look into planning of a CB9 wide event. Yeah, from the park committee. Is there a second?
Okay, Mina, you got that? Okay, you have to say it so that she can write it down.
I'm making a motion to create a subcommittee of the Park Recreation and Culture Committee to look into.
Slow down, sweetheart, slow down.
The motion is to create a subcommittee from the Parks and Recreation and Culture Committee
to look into the production of a CB9 wide event.
Slow down, slow down.
Okay.
What do you have so far so that he can finish his sentence?
The motion is to create a subcommittee to have a subcommittee from the Parks, Recreation, and Culture Committee to look into the production of a CB9 wide event.
Which will be called the CB9 Family Fun Field Day.
Thank you. Is that it?
Yeah, that's it for now. So we're looking.
I just wanted to say that, you know, coordinating something like that with all of the committees, and because you're making this a district-wide event and not just, you know, it's going to take a lot of time, and, you know, and again, this is the end of the season, not the beginning. You know, I think, again, these ideas are great. You know, it's great to think about doing a district-wide, but I think that you really need more time to really help to facilitate this, especially if you're saying that it's a community-wide, like you want to involve all these different committees to play a role in this, then you really need time to work this out. You need to meet with these committees. You need to figure out who's going to do what. And again, people are winding down.
I know.
Okay, let's just
move it along. Winding down stuff. I've been teaching for the last 35 years. I never wind down.
So it's
yeah, but this is what we do here. That's you. This is what we do here. Okay, let's just stay focused on what we. Okay, let's just stay focused. Okay, the motion is okay. Mine. You're going to read the motion, and then we're going to all vote on the motion.
The motion is to create.
Well, you have to first, somebody has to second it.
First, she has to read it.
Let her read it so we could get a second.
Okay. I'm sorry. The motion is to create a subcommittee from the Parks, Recreation, and Culture Committee to look into the production of a CB9 wide event, which will be called the CB9 Family Fair Fun Day.
Field Day.
I'm sorry?
Field Day.
Field
Day.
Field Day. They're going to be field activities. Yeah.
CB9 Family Fun
Field
Day.
Okay, do we have a second?
A lot of people do it.
Can I make a comment / question before we second?
Okay, I have to run. I'll be right back.
You have to have a second to have discussion. Somebody got a second.
A second.
So you have the question.
A second. The motion was seconded by me. Motion was seconded
Now we open for discussion.
by.
Well, okay. It's 8:42 p.m.
Well, I've been told, I've been informed that it's at least a minimum 2 hours until all the agenda items are done.
We started the meeting at 7. That means 2 hours is 9. It is 8:42.
I think we can conclude at 9 because that's the last item I have.
Other agenda items.
Minutes. And there's more enough time to do this and then we move on because that's the last business I have, unless somebody else have any additional business.
There are other agenda items, so.
Oh, no. There's no agenda item except old business and new business.
Well, that's the agenda.
Okay, the motion has been seconded. Are we doing a quick discussion?
Correct. We discussed.
Okay, can I start with the discussion?
Mhm.
I am all for this kind of event. However, I think that instead of focusing on doing this year, I would like to do it in the year 2022. And I'm saying that because even at work right now, I see how when we rush things, that's why I look so tired. I've been working 12, 14 hours a day. Because when you rush to put things and to implement them and don't factor in all the things that go into it, either it be a permit, either it be just getting everyone at the meeting, getting quorum at the meeting, so on and so forth, that we run the risk of doing all this for nothing, which is what I'm dealing with at work. And you still have to plow through it, but this isn't one of those things that we have to plow through. We can have, I'm imagining this event with you and I'm like, yeah, that would be wonderful. But if we don't do it right and give everyone else time, either the community time to actually sit with us and say, yes, we'll help, we'll be there, we'll actually show up. Everything else that goes into it, where it's not conflicting with another event going on a certain day, that in 2021, we're still in 2021, that it can't happen in 2021. I am for 2022, either it be a spring event at the beginning of spring when it's not as hot, or 2022. That's my comment.
Okay. Well, there was no specific, there were a couple of suggested time, but nothing is written in stone. And I agree with your position. And this is a very involving, I think it requires a lot of time and effort. I don't disagree with that at all. But I think it's a good idea to start exploring it.
Are there any further comments?
8:45.
I will raise my hand. I'm agreeing that it's a nice idea. I think I could see all sorts of things. And I also could see things that we can't see this very minute that could evolve, and we could interest people, we could interest, the Parks Alliance in a way that we didn't think, we could make it at the new Shirley Chisholm, the new center. Why don't we think, okay, if I'm talking about this, I would say that I would make it in correspondence with opening of the new Shirley Chisholm Center.
Okay.
And that then we are all on board. Then the city is already working with us, that there's already a momentum for something. And then we are in line with something that's already a motivator.
I got you. But one of the ideas that was proposed is to use one of the field that's rarely used by the district, by the community board. The field that's located on Troy and Woodland, right next to Kingsbrook. That was the idea.
But you know what?
I think your idea of doing it together with the Prospect Alliance is a great idea, because the idea also is to have all these institutions represented there. So somebody did suggest we should try to do it somewhere in Prospect Park. So those ideas that's coming out. Okay.
Okay. Is there further discussion? Because we're getting late.
Yeah, it's 9:46.
8:46.
I mean 8:46.
Okay.
I have arithmetic deficiencies.
Brenda hasn't waited. Go ahead,
We
dear.
have a lot of things that were started, or a number of things that were started this year that we haven't followed up on. And some of those things could be beneficial to this type of event, which I think is a mega event. We're talking about the whole district. But we need to look at what we started this year, see what needs to be finished, see what needs to be continued, and then go forward from there, because BRIC is a part of that, you know, events that you're having at Prospect Park, that they're already scheduling, you know, their events out. You schedule something big like this a year out or more, because of all the different people that you have to coordinate with, you know, and then a rain date.
I agree, I agree. What I want to do is to put the idea out.
Okay, it's out.
When it happened, we got to work out the logistics of it.
Right, right.
Okay,
That
so,
means a
okay,
subcommittee-
can we call it to a vote?
A vote for what? What are we voting on?
The motion
Information
to
to
have
make
a subcommittee
for that.
for this CB9 wide family field day event. So you need a subcommittee.
Right. So the motion.
Okay, so we're voting yes or
Everything was
no.
very seconded. Now we can vote. Is that
Right, this is the vote. This is the vote.
okay? Let's move for a vote. All right, all in favor? If you want to do it by vote.
Go ahead, go ahead. Have fun. I'm not on it, but you have fun.
I'm voting for it. I'm not on it either.
For a
My
subcommittee
hands are full.
form,
Say again, sweetheart. What?
a subcommittee to be formed, not
Okay.
for me to be on it.
Correct. So what
Yeah.
the committee is going to look into it. Yeah, correct.
Okay, so everybody except for Alicia's voted. Alicia? Oh, she's on the phone. She's got her hand up. Are you voting yes? Vote yes.
But Alicia can vote. She's not member of the committee.
Oh,
Right.
she's a
Voted for
visitor.
that motion.
Okay.
You've been voting all night.
Now, that's why I asked for the roll call.
You do a roll call, but you called
I
everybody.
want to do a roll call because I make sure the people that vote are member of the committee.
Well, Alicia's not a member of the committee, and she
But she's
voted.
a member of the community, but this is a committee vote because
Right.
only.
Okay, the motion passed.
All right.
Motion passed.
On.
Julia,
Okay,
declare
so
motion.
what's the
All
next
in
thing?
favor, say aye. Or can I move for unanimous consent?
Didn't we vote?
We did vote. We voted.
We
Okay,
voted.
so
Dinah, did we vote? We voted already. It's done.
yes.
Motion
Okay,
passed.
mine, did it pass?
Yes.
Everybody here voted for it, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so the next thing is old business.
Is there any old business?
Yes, we have the
old business
survey
is-
from the park.
Your stuff, and you're not responding to it. That's the old business.
Let's do
Say
old
again.
business.
The old business, the volunteer thing, RSVP that I've sent to both of you, and you have yet to respond to it.
Which is from the.
Okay, make a
Prospect Park
presentation for it,
Alliance?
dear.
No, I sent you an email, I sent you a flyer for RSVP, which is a volunteer organization that works with people 55 and older, recruits people to volunteer either remotely or on site throughout the 5 boroughs. But all I wanted to do
Why
was
did you
have the
send it?
fly-
Let me look, I don't remember
Oh,
that.
you talking with me again.
Nicholas, you're talking over her. Stop.
Okay, so all I wanted to ask you was to have that flyer to share with the other committees, because some of the other committees actually go into schools, or whether or not we could post it in various different parks, etc. This is the Parks, Recreation, and Culture Committee. So can we post a flyer like that, which I sent to you several times already?
You did, okay.
Yes, I did.
While I'm checking my email now. I don't
Don't
know.
bother. I'll send you again. That'll be the
Oh,
fifth
you
time.
sent it under your name, right? You have Peter down?
Yes.
Because I do remember. Let me see.
Okay, don't worry about it. It's just a flyer in regards to the RSVP. But the issue is, can it be posted in the parks? Because if you,
I don't know if we're able to authorize that, because
I don't know either, but that's why I'm asking.
I don't think that we have that authority.
Well, let's find out.
Well, why don't we
Nicholas?
refer it to the board in general and the district manager to find out.
Okay, I make a motion that we forward it to the board, that we find out if it can be posted. Is that what you'd like to have happen?
Yes.
Okay, that's my motion.
I
That's my
second
motion.
it.
Yay.
Okay.
Yay.
Is there further discussion?
Not.
All in favor?
I.
Okay, unanimous.
So the motion was to forward the flyer to the board.
Correct.
To
So
find
that
out-
we could get it posted in the parks.
In the parks. Now, do we have any discussion in regards to all these presentations, 3 or 4 presentations that we saw this year? And we were, I thought we were supposed to make connections with the people who made presentations, Brooklyn Botanic Gardens, Rick, and I don't remember who else, but there were other
I
people.
think you also had the, on, I don't know if it was in our meeting, there was a presentation for the people with the Major Owen Recreation Center. I think that's the one presentation on that.
I don't
too.
think they made a presentation,
No, oh, they were in one of the meeting because that's. one of the-
but they didn't make a presentation.
Oh, no, I did see a
She's-
presentation.
Brenda's talking about all the people who came parading through us from Warren, and like, we didn't hear, you know, like, we didn't know anything about it. It was like our meeting was usurped by these
Yes.
other things. And you know what, Brenda, between my concept is, that was usurped. It wasn't brought in by the committee. It was placed on the committee. I don't feel that it was business by any means. I don't have any feeling of following up. I don't see anybody following up. Anybody who brought those people here are no longer at this meeting.
Because I was not aware of that meeting. I probably was, I wasn't chair when all this stuff was brought in.
Okay, so I don't think
That's
I
the
see it
reason
as
I
old
asked for
business.
a conversation to
Well,
get
on
an
the
idea what happened before.
Wait, let her finish. Go ahead, Brenda.
All of us were on the committee except Mina. Mina joined the committee perhaps later, but
Me
those
and
of
mine
us
are
who-
joined together, same time.
okay, whatever.
Okay, Brenda, I'm saying I don't see it as old business. So, because
You know what? I'm
there's no
gonna
advocate, like, there's no advocate for those people.
say that this is the last thing I'm gonna say because it's dinner time. It's way past my dinner time and my bedtime too. It's 8 o'clock, people. My bedtime is 8
It's
o'clock.
9, babe.
want y'all to know. So we're going on 9 o'clock now.
Thank you for staying up.
I can't even think straight anymore. But Brick, very useful contact that I made with Brick. So I'm going to maintain that contact. That contact with Brick gives us the opportunity to promote things because they do that. They promote things for you. But you know, just saying, it's worthwhile to keep it
I
out
agree,
there.
because Brick is a major contact. The youth committee said they had
Yes.
contact with Brick
And
also.
we're talking about arts, recreation, and
Okay.
culture, and Brick can bring that in. We had some
Okay,
some
okay, with the out,
arts brought in to one of the gardens on the 18th of April. Welcome to my world. Okay, they had live music, 3 presentations, a plant swap event or whatever going on that was well attended, you know, but that's a part of parks, recreation, and culture. And we spoke earlier in the year about bringing culture and arts to the local parks so that the local members of the
That's my interest. I'm a
community could
musician, so I like to see
participate in
that.
these things. So that's what I thought part of the mission of this committee was to be, not just having, you know, a miscellaneous events here and there, you know, that's nice, but we need to invest in something that's going to be regular, not hit or miss, whatever. I'm done because I'm way hungry.
Brenda, can you make a
Yeah, I think
motion?
we're gonna have to
Brenda,
wait
can you
that
ask
for
to
next
make a
year,
motion?
because that's the
We'll
same
second it and we'll
one.
bring it on. Make a motion,
I
sweetheart.
make a motion that we use Brick in the future to help us promote parks, recreation, and culture committee events and ideas.
I second it. All in favor? Further
I
discussion?
I am in favor, in complete favor. That's the same. I've been
Okay.
thinking.
I know
Okay.
I'm not voting, but I'm still.
Okay, so,
saying
okay, I'd like my old business to be brought back my old business is the survey that we had from Deborah, that we finally get it done for the June meeting.
So
I will resubmit the questions, and we will do it on the, okay, all in favor. Okay, can I get a second on that? I don't think we need a second. It's already old business.
It's old business.
So,
I second it anyway. Let's
Okay,
move.
it's already old business. Okay.
guys, we gotta wrap
Okay,
up.
everybody in here is getting silly. Y'all need juice.
That's right.
Okay. Okay. Can I make a motion to close the meeting?
Oh, no. What is there? Oh, that's new business. We do.
It's old business, and I'm just saying that we need to bring it back.
New business. That's the.
Oh, I
last-
see. Any new business?
Seeing
It's
none.
The
Emotion
new
to
business
adjourn
was the field day.
is in order.
Well, all I gotta say is I hope you guys enjoy your weekend. It's supposed to be a beautiful day tomorrow and Saturday. 71 degrees, full sun. Get out there, people. Go to your park
Go to your local park.
and enjoy
I was
it.
there already
Okay.
today.
Okay, so all
I'm
in
going to
favor
the
of closing the, okay, all in favor of closing the meeting? Okay, can I get a second to close the meeting?
Second,
Brenda's closed it, second it. Brenda second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Maya,
Okay.
you need to go to the park.
I'm in
You
the
said
park
you're
6 to
tired.
7
You said
days,
you're tired.
5 to 6 days a week.
which
What
park you go to?
I run in Prospect Park 4 to
I see.
5
I
days.
ain't not talking about running.
Some of the
I'm
other
talking about
parks.
running. I ain't talking about.
Maxing and relaxing, sweetheart. Let's
I'm
just,
talking about laying in the sun and
Oh.
laying in
okay.
the shade, just relaxing.
Mina, are you part of
Look
Girl
at her.
Trek?
She's saying no. She's saying no.
Mina,
She don't
Mina,
know
are
how
you
to
part of
relax.
Girl Trek? Do you Girl Trek?
I'm sorry, of what?
You know what Girl Trek is?
No, I don't.
Okay, it's a group of Black women runners, runners, walkers that we connect with, walking, running, being out in the air for our health, for our survival, and for our history. Because we are part of the tradition of Harriet Ross Tubman, who is from Brooklyn.
Okay.
And we are in the fact that if you do not take care of yourself, you couldn't help anybody else, so that
Oh,
you
I
are
know.
mindful of your own health. And so Google it, girltrek.org. Okay.
Well, Maya, you need to go to the park just to relax.
Yeah, just chill out.
So
Yeah.
now this is.
Okay. Okay, we're out. We're done. Anybody?
Same thing to you, Brenda.
Thank you, Khalid.
I go to BBG. That's my park.
She does. Brenda goes to the park. I talk to Brenda in the morning. She goes to the park.
Hey,
Yeah, and she also goes to. She has a garden. She got garden people.
that's right.
She got garden
I got a
people.
garden
Okay.
too.
Oh, no, but how many community gardens do we have in this district? I like to go and see them.
Ask
I
Khalid.
have a community
Ask
garden.
Khalid. Ask Khalid
Yes, colleague. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
that
Okay.
information
Peace out, people.
about
See you
that.
next month.
You guys,
Okay.
Good
Okay.
night.
Stay
Get
healthy.
some
Get
rest.
some sun. Enjoy.
this was a very
Good night.
productive meeting. I appreciate everyone. Let's
Ciao. Thank you. I appreciate everybody. Thank you.
BB9.
Bye, guys. It was nice.